Hello there, I showed you last week how to create this applique design, and this week we're going to turn it into this little small pouch which has Velcro on it. So I'm going to show you how to attach Velcro to fabric. It's really very simple, and it's got an inside lining to store all your bits and bobs in your sewing room. So let me show you how to make this Velcro pouch. So this was the previous week's video. If you want to know how to do this applique, go back and have a look at this video. What you're going to need for this project is a piece of fabric that is 8 inches by 7. You're going to need 2 for your outer, and you're going to need 2 for your internal. For the Velcro closure, you're going to measure 4 inches by 2 3/4. It's going to be still too long, but I'm going to adjust that later on. And also 1.5 inches of Velcro hook and loop. Let's concentrate on the Velcro closure first. So I have chosen to use a piece of canvas and a piece of cotton. If you're using 2 pieces of cotton, make sure you have some woven interfacing in between these two, because it's going to be a bit too flimsy. You want to stabilize that up a little bit. So this is the woven interfacing. One side is cloth and the other side has an adhesive on it. Now I'm going to take this over to my iron and press it on. So what it's doing for us is it's doubling up that fabric layer so it's nice and strong. So when we come to put our Velcro on it, it's not going to push through to the sewing machine. It's going to be able to handle having this stuck onto it. Now don't forget, when we're sewing around this later on, we are going to have a seam allowance. So you don't want to have this all the way to the edge. I wouldn't put it at 1/4 of an inch. I would go at least 3/4 of an inch over and then pin it into place. If you want to find the center, by the way, you could fold it in half, create a crease line so you know dead center of where to place the Velcro section. I'm going to be placing my Velcro section onto the canvas. I am not paid nor sponsored to create any part of this video. In the top thread, I have a regular polyester thread. This is a stitch length that I am setting my machine to. Now I'm going to sew this Velcro section into place. Always backstitch over that first stitch. Just going to pivot. Pivot, pivot, and do a cross right along the middle. You can just travel along the area that you were just done, and then do that other cross. And backstitch. That's one done. I'm going to put this to one side for 1 second. Then we're going to get the front of the pouch. We're going to fold it in half just to find that center. And then we're going to place our Velcro. Once again, we don't want it to be at that 1/4. We kind of want it to be at 3/4. Just about there. So then I'm going to take this over to my sewing machine and stitch into place. So both Velcro sections are sewn. So I'm going to work on the tab again. And you're going to put these right sides together. So the Velcro is going to be faced right side with the fabric, or 2 fabrics right sides together. And then where you got the Velcro at the bottom, you're going to stitch all the way around here, around the Velcro, and you're going to leave the top that doesn't have the Velcro open. Now we're going to turn this right sides out. Now it's created this little flap, so I'm going to take this over to my iron and press. And then take it back over to my sewing machine and top stitch all the way around the outside. Now we're going to put this to one side while we work on the pouch. Take your front section and then take the back section, put them both together. And we are going to draw a 1-inch box square at the bottom. So I'm going to take this ruler here and then mark 1 inch. And then I'm going to do the same for the other side. And 1 inch. Now what you're going to do is take your lining sections, place them both right sides together, and do exactly the same. You take your ruler, and I'm just going to draw a 1-inch square. Another 1-inch square. Then you're going to take your scissors and cut these squares out. You can also just secure everything into place with some clips. And when you're doing the external, make sure that you're doing the squares away from that Velcro, because the Velcro is the top and you're going to do it on the other side at the bottom. You can do the external section first. We're going to sew down here, sew down here, and sew down here. But you're going to leave the part where the Velcro is open. Now you're left with these squares at the bottom. You are going to open them out, and then you're going to line the two seams together and then sew across. And then you're going to do the same thing with the other side. Now place this section to one side and take your inside lining. Now everything's going to be the same apart from the bottom. We're going to leave an opening at the bottom, and you're probably just going to close like 1 inch at either side here and leave the rest of that open. So the top part is open, and the bottom, there's a little bit that's left open. And now we just want to close up them squares again. So we're going to open this up, line the seams together, and sew. Take your external section and flip it out. This is exactly where my Velcro section is going to fall. I'm just going to keep it there for a second, and I'm going to take my inside lining and I'm going to put that right sides facing. So this is facing right sides out and your print is facing inside. So all you're going to be looking at is the wrong side of the lining. You're going to fold this back to find the center. And I'm going to mark it on the other side of this lining, so I know exactly where this needs to go. I have removed it from the front, that's where it was, and I've now placed it to the other side of my pouch. So this is what we're looking at, and the Velcro is facing towards us, and it's sandwiched between the two layers. And I'm going to grip it into place. Take it to the sewing machine and sew all the way around the outside of this bag, and making sure that this flap is secured. Now you are going to, through this opening, push the pouch all the way through, And now's a really good time, because we haven't sewn this down, just to push this down and then make sure that we didn't error, and that does close. Now I think that's a perfect opening. If you wanted it to be a little bit smaller than that, you could take a little bit off at the bottom and sew it back into place. Now, what you're going to do is close the bottom here and stitch it into place. So we're going to close this shut. And then you're going to push the line in all the way down. I quite like it when the lining creates this kind of mock binding. I'm going to keep that as is, and I'm going to top stitch all the way around. This flap is probably going to want to lay like this. Just fold it up like so, and you are going to make sure you don't stitch both of them down. You just want to stitch that down onto that layer, ignoring the other section. This flap is going to want to lay down like this. You're going to lift it up and you're going to stitch this down into place. Don't do the other layer, just this one layer. And there we go. How easy was that? So you've created a little small pouch with an applique design, and it has a Velcro closure to put in your little trinkets and keep your sewing room nice and clean. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Please subscribe. I have over 500 tutorials on my channel now, and there's something for everyone on sewing and quilting.